You've been told that sex is the highest expression of connection, that to share your body is to share your soul, that if you're doing it right, you'll feel satisfied, loved, and seen. And yet, here you are, lying in bed. The sheets are still warm. The other person is still there. Maybe they're asleep. Maybe they've already left. Or maybe they're right next to you, and it feels like no one is there at all. Let's start where it starts, the aftermath. For a few minutes, maybe you felt everything: fire, energy, closeness, escape. But now you feel nothing. Psychologists call this post-coital dysphoria. It's more common than you think. A 2011 study found that up to 41% of men and women have experienced feelings of sadness, irritability, or emptiness after consensual sex. You may feel disconnected from the person you were just with, detached from yourself, anxious, like something's wrong but you can't name it, restless, like your body is tired but your mind won't shut up. You might even feel shame for feeling this way. But Kierkegaard wouldn't be surprised, because to him, this is the spiritual consequence of living in what he called the aesthetic stage. You're not broken. You're not defective. That emptiness isn't a flaw. It's a signal. A signal that you're searching for something deeper, something you've been taught to bury, to ignore, to drown out with another touch, another night, another fleeting high. And Søren Kierkegaard, a solitary philosopher hunched over his desk in 19th century Denmark, saw it all 200 years ago. He saw you, tangled in your desires, chasing moments that promise everything but deliver nothing but echoes. Kierkegaard knew something about the human heart that you felt but never named. He understood that we're all trapped, not by chains of iron, but by chains of longing. We run after pleasures, sensations, experiences, thinking they'll save us from the quiet dread that lurks in the corners of our minds. But every time we reach for them, they slip away, leaving us emptier, hungrier, more lost than before. And sex, with all its intensity, its vulnerability, its promise of connection, becomes the sharpest mirror of this truth. You chased the connection, the rush, the intimacy, believing it would fill you up, make you whole, stitch together the frayed edges of your soul. But now, in the silence, with the world stripped back to just you and your thoughts, you're left staring into a darkness that feels bigger than before. Why does something so raw, so human, so alive, leave you grasping at shadows, wondering why the ecstasy didn't last? Why does it hurt? Why does something that's supposed to bind you to another, to make you feel seen, known, alive, so often end in this silent despair? Because you've been fed a lie that says the body is enough, that physical closeness can answer the questions your soul is screaming. A lie that says if you just find the right person, the right moment, the right spark, you'll finally feel complete. But Kierkegaard, with his restless mind and piercing gaze, would tell you the truth. The body alone can never satisfy the infinite within you. Stop for a moment. Ask yourself, what are you really chasing when you lose yourself in someone else? Is it love? Is it validation? Is it the fleeting thrill of being wanted? Or is it something bigger, something you're too afraid to face? Kierkegaard called it the infinite. It's that restless, aching part of you that yearns for meaning, for purpose, for something that doesn't vanish when the morning comes. It's the part of you that knows, deep down, that no amount of pleasure, no matter how intense, can ever fill the void that only eternity can touch. But here's the cruel paradox. The more you chase that fleeting high, the further you drift from what you're truly seeking. Every encounter becomes a mirror, reflecting not just your desire, but your despair. You want to be seen, to be known, but instead you're left with the nagging sense that you're still a stranger to your partner, to yourself, to the world. You give everything in that moment, your body, your breath, your vulnerability. But when it's over, you're left wondering, was that all? Is this all there is? Kierkegaard warned us about this. He said most of us live in what he called the aesthetic stage, a life driven by sensation, by the pursuit of pleasure for its own sake. It's a life of chasing highs, of collecting moments, of believing that if you just feel enough, taste enough, experience enough, you'll finally be satisfied. It's seductive, isn't it? The aesthetic life is a siren song, pulling you in with promises of ecstasy, of escape, of forgetting the weight of your own existence. But it's also a trap, because the aesthetic life is a life of distraction, a life that keeps you running from the one question you're too afraid to ask. Who am I, really? Think about it. How many times have you thrown yourself into a moment, a person, a feeling, hoping it would drown out that quiet voice inside you? The voice that whispers, "This isn't enough. This isn't what you were made for." You silence it with another night, another touch, another escape. But the voice always comes back, doesn't it? Stronger, louder, more insistent. It's there in the moments after, when the world is quiet and you're left alone with your thoughts. It's there in the emptiness that no amount of closeness can fill. Now, imagine for a second what would happen if you stopped running. What if you turned and faced that emptiness head-on? What if, instead of filling it with another thrill, another distraction, you dared to sit with it, to listen to it, to what it's trying to tell you? Kierkegaard would say that's where the real journey begins. Not in the heat of passion, not in the arms of another, but in the terrifying, liberating act of confronting your own soul. He called it the leap of faith. Not just faith in God, though that was central to his thought, but faith in the possibility that your life has meaning beyond the temporary, beyond the physical, beyond the endless cycle of chasing and losing. It's a leap that asks you to let go of the illusions you've clung to, the illusion that another person can fix you, that another moment can save you, that another high can make you whole. It's a leap that demands you face the void and ask, what am I here for? What do I truly want? But here's the part that cuts deep. You're scared to make that leap. You're scared because it means letting go of the crutches you've relied on, the crutch of pleasure, of distraction, of the lie that more will ever be enough. You're scared because it means facing yourself without the masks, without the roles you play, without the stories you tell yourself to get through the day. You're scared that if you strip it all away, there might be nothing left. Or worse, that you'll find a version of yourself you don't know how to love. And that's the darker truth behind the emptiness you feel. It's not just about sex. It's about the way you've built your life around avoiding the one thing you need most, yourself. You've become so good at running, so skilled at hiding, that you've forgotten what it feels like to stand still, to be present, to be real. You've traded authenticity for anesthesia, depth for distraction, meaning for momentary relief. But Kierkegaard, from his lonely desk, saw through that fear. He knew that the emptiness you feel isn't a curse. It's a call to move beyond the aesthetic, beyond the endless chase, to something higher. He described 3 stages of life: the aesthetic, the ethical, and the religious. The aesthetic is where most of us start, living for pleasure, for the next hit of dopamine, for the next moment that makes us feel alive. But it's a dead end. It's a cycle that leaves you exhausted, empty, and further from yourself than ever. The ethical stage is the next step, a life of responsibility, of intention, of choosing to live by values that go beyond your immediate desires. It's where you start to ask not just what feels good, but what is right, what matters. It's where you begin to build a life that reflects who you are, not just what you want in the moment. But even the ethical stage isn't the end. For Kierkegaard, true fulfillment comes in the religious stage, the stage where you surrender to something greater than yourself, where you confront the infinite and find your place in it. Now, don't misunderstand. Kierkegaard wasn't preaching dogma or demanding you follow a specific creed. His religious stage is about facing the mystery of existence, about wrestling with the questions that keep you up at night, about daring to believe that your life has a purpose that transcends the temporary. It's about finding a connection, not just with another person, but with the eternal, with the source of all meaning. So, why do you feel empty after sex? Because you're pouring your soul into something that can't hold it. You're asking a moment to carry the weight of eternity. You're asking another person to fill a void that only you can face. You're trying to satisfy an infinite longing with a finite act, and it will never, ever be enough. But here's where Kierkegaard's wisdom cuts through the noise. That emptiness isn't the end, it's the beginning. It's the crack in the facade, the moment where the truth starts to seep through. It's the invitation to stop chasing shadows and start seeking something real. Something that doesn't vanish when the moment ends, something that doesn't crumble under the weight of your questions. Now, let's be clear. Kierkegaard wasn't saying sex is wrong or shameful. He wasn't advocating for celibacy or preaching against pleasure. He was saying that sex, like all human experiences, is a shadow of something greater. It's a glimpse, a fleeting echo of the connection you're truly craving, not just with another, but with yourself, with meaning, with the infinite. It's a reminder that you were made for more than the temporary, more than the fleeting, more than the endless cycle of chasing and losing. So, what are you going to do about it? Will you keep running, keep chasing the next high, knowing it'll leave you just as empty as before? Or will you have the courage to pause, to turn inward, to face the questions that scare you? Will you keep pouring yourself into moments that can't hold you? Or will you dare to seek something deeper, something truer, something that lasts? Imagine who you could be if you stopped running from that emptiness. Imagine what your relationships could feel like if you approached them not as escapes, but as reflections of your own authenticity. Imagine what your life could become if you dared to live for something bigger than the next thrill, the next touch, the next moment. That version of you, the one who's not afraid to face the void, is waiting. But you have to choose to meet them. Kierkegaard's message isn't easy. It's not a quick fix, not a feel-good slogan you can slap on a coffee mug. It's a challenge. It's a challenge to stop hiding behind pleasure, behind distraction, behind the lie that more will ever be enough. It's a call to step into the unknown, to wrestle with the questions that haunt you, to find a meaning that doesn't fade when the lights come on. But let's dig deeper, because there's something else at play here, something you might not want to admit. Part of why you feel empty is because you're not just chasing pleasure, you're chasing control. You think if you can orchestrate the perfect moment, the perfect connection, the perfect feeling, you'll finally be safe from the chaos of your own heart. You think if you can just get it right, you'll outrun the fear that you're not enough, that you're not worthy, that you're not whole. But Kierkegaard would tell you that control is an illusion. The more you try to grip the reins of your life, the more it slips through your fingers. The more you try to force meaning into moments that can't hold it, the more you feel the weight of your own futility. Life is messy, unpredictable, uncontrollable, and that's not a flaw, it's the point. The infinite doesn't bend to your will. It asks you to surrender, to let go, to trust that there's something bigger at work. And here's the brutal truth. You're afraid to surrender. You're afraid because it means admitting you don't have all the answers. It means admitting that you're not in charge, that you can't force your life to make sense, that you can't make another person fill the spaces you're too scared to face. You're afraid that if you let go, you'll fall apart, or worse, that you'll discover you've been falling apart all along. Kierkegaard saw something you might not see yet, that falling apart is the first step to becoming whole, that letting go of your illusions is the only way to find what's real. That emptiness you feel is not a punishment, it's a pathway. It's the space where you are now and where you could be, the gap between the life you're living and the life you're meant to live. So let's talk about that life. What would it look like to live beyond the aesthetic stage? What would it feel like to approach intimacy, not just sex, but all human connection, with a heart that's seeking more than escape? What would it mean to love, not as a way to fill yourself up? And beyond that, there's the religious stage. The stage where you confront the infinite, where you dare to believe that your life is part of something bigger, something eternal. It's where you find a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, a meaning that doesn't fade when the moment ends. It's where you discover that the void you've been running from isn't empty at all. It's full of possibility, waiting for you to step into it. But getting there means taking that leap. It means letting go of the familiar, the comfortable, the safe. It means facing the fear that's been driving you, the fear of being alone, of being unworthy, of being nothing. It means trusting that there's something on the other side, something worth finding, something worth living for. So, let me ask you again, what are you going to do now? Will you keep chasing shadows, knowing they'll slip away? Will you keep hiding behind moments that can't hold the weight of your soul? Or will you have the courage to stop, to listen, to face the emptiness and see it for what it is, a call to become who you were always meant to be? This isn't just about giving up pleasure or swearing off intimacy. It's about redefining what intimacy means. It's about approaching it not as a way to fill a void, but as a way to share something real, something true. It's about choosing connection over escape, depth over distraction, meaning over anesthesia. It's about discovering that the love you're seeking, the love that fills you, that sustains you, starts with loving yourself, with knowing yourself, with daring to be yourself. Kierkegaard's challenge is as urgent today as it was 200 years ago, when he scribbled his thoughts in the quiet of his Copenhagen study. He saw a world obsessed with distraction, with pleasure, with the endless pursuit of more. He saw people running from their own souls, chasing moments that could never satisfy. And he saw you, with your aching heart, your restless spirit, your quiet despair. And he wrote for you. His words are a wake-up call, a reminder that the emptiness you feel is not the end of the story. It's the beginning. It's the moment where you decide, will you keep living for the next high, the next escape, the next illusion? Or will you finally have the courage to face yourself, to ask the questions that matter, to seek a life that's truly yours? Because here's the secret nobody tells you. The life you're craving isn't out there, in someone else's arms, in someone else's approval, in someone else's touch. It's here, in this moment, waiting for you to claim it. It's in the courage to let go of what doesn't serve you, to face what scares you, to embrace what scares you, to live for what sets your soul on fire. So, what's it going to be? Will you stay in the aesthetic stage, trapped in a cycle of chasing and losing? Will you keep pouring your soul into moments that can't hold it, knowing they'll leave you empty? Or will you take the leap into the unknown, into the uncertainty, into the possibility of something greater, something real? The emptiness you feel is not a flaw, it's a doorway. It's the invitation to a journey you've been avoiding, a journey you've always needed. And the choice is yours. Kierkegaard's voice echoes across the centuries, asking you one final time, are you ready to answer? Or will you keep running, knowing that every step takes you further from the truth? The path is daunting, but let me promise you this. The only thing more terrifying than stepping into the unknown is staying exactly where you are, trapped in a life that feels like freedom but tastes like ash. Welcome to the philosophy of Kierkegaard, to the pursuit of a truth that doesn't fade, a meaning that doesn't break, a life that doesn't leave you empty. The journey starts now. Will you take it?